All right, I'm going to try to make a video about cruciforms. Just a few tips. I took this engine apart and been rebuilding it, and this is pretty torn up. The you can see it rounded off. You know, I knew it was going to be beat because when I saw the clutch, basket, and plates, they were really beat up. I mean, beat up, to the point where there were weird angles and it was just a mess. So I knew when I got into here these would be wrecked. So and one of the tips about these is you don't want to get the very best one. The very best ones are made out of steel that's a little too hard. And what happens is you don't want this to be a very hard steel because you want this to wear out, not this. This is a tensiled steel. Once these insides start wearing out, you got to change all the gears, and it's more annoying to change these than one of these. They ride in here, and you want this to get eaten up, but you don't want these corners to get eaten up. You know, you want them to stay nice. Even though this is really wrecked, this is still okay. See, they're not damaged, right? Because this is really hard steel. You try to drill this with a drill bit, it'll take you like 4 or 5 drill bits to get anywhere. While this, you'll go right through with one bit. So that's it. These work. They go through the gears and they grab in here. See, right in there. You see it? I don't know if you can see it. There you go. And all right, that's one tip. 2 tip is when you pull them out, clean it with a little carburetor cleaner and get yourself a paint pen. Let me see if I can find mine. There it is. Get one of these paint pens. There's a little ball bearing in there. You shake it up and down and get the paint all mixed. You pump the tip moves, paint comes out, and you put it on. These paint pens go for $3 to $6 around. Depends how old this video one day is going to be. It'll be a hell of a lot more probably one day. But these last really long. I've had these more than 10 years, this one, and it's still wet. It still works. There's a seal in here where the tip moves up and down to let paint out, and it seals very well. And there's also a cap, so they don't dry out that easy. So I've had this a very long time. So clean it with a little bit of carburetor cleaner or something. See how it's dry right there and greasy here? Wipe it, paint it, and it'll stay there for a very long time. When you take it out, it'll still be there next time in, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years. It'll still be there. When you take them out, you mark them. You mark them on the face, so you know which way they go without thinking. The less thinking you have to do, the better. You don't want to make everything hard. So if it saves you that process, great, you know. All right. The new one's in here already. I threw it in here. Now there's a little cut. You see there's a little round cut in there, so you can spin it and remove it. See it? There you go. It's out. It's as simple as that. Spin it and remove it. And I'm going to put it back in. See, this is just a basic cruciform. It's not an expensive one. I was going to buy a medium grade one, but they sold out of all the medium grade ones where I get them. So this is kind of like a lower grade one. Now, if your cruciforms are snapping and breaking, it's not because of a weak cruciform. It's because these are designed to hit perfectly at the same time, well, on all these centerpieces. Okay? They're designed to hit it perfectly at the same time. If they hit with one hits before the others, it may start snapping. So it's not the cruciform. It's something wrong with your gears. Okay? All right. All right, I'm just looking at it myself to make sure they're good. All right, they are good. Sorry about that pause there. All right, now I'm going to put this cruciform in. Now this can go either way because this is a flat cut cruciform. There's no specific. Now other bikes, there is a specific way they go in, and you got to be careful about it. All right, this you can go both sides. Just put it in. See where I got the cutout over here. Okay, just put it in and spin it, and I push it all the way back. That's it. That's in. Now see, I painted this one. But if some reason you can't really tell, the first and the last one have a flat cut. Don't have these bumps on them. They're flat cut. Okay, see? The first and the last one. So that's 2 gears already. You know where they go without any problem. So it goes in. Now, first one, put it all the way in. It's in. Number 2. Number 2, there's a couple of ways you can tell where number 2 goes in case you lose the mark. One way is very subtly, very little. You might even need a micrometer sometimes to tell, but one side is bigger than the other. The bigger side goes, with the bigger opening, goes towards the engine. And the reason it has a little bigger, is because the gear rides in here in neutral, between the gears, between the cutouts. It falls in here, and then it rides between here. That's neutral. And there's room in there for both of them, on both of them, so it'll ride inside there and then grab the gear. But that's where neutral is. All right, cool. That's in. 3 is off-centered a little bit, where it's smaller in the back towards the engine than towards the flywheel. Towards the engine, it's smaller. The bump on this side, and this side it's bigger. It's bigger towards the flywheel. There's a third one, in case you get in a jam. And of course, like I said before, the fourth one is flat. Flat cut. Flat cut. And there you go. It's in. Then you put the washer. This is the washer. First one, it's got these little cutouts, so it spins with the shaft, not with the wheel. Spins with the shaft. All right. Now comes the pain in the butt part, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it really quickly. Sometimes because I want to make sure it falls in there completely, and sometimes it's not easy to do that, and I have to sit here for a little while playing with it. Okay, here. Hope it doesn't give me too much trouble. Oh man, it fell in. Very good. Sometimes I have to struggle with that. There you go, it's in. Some people put it with the cut, and some people put it in the middle for better grip. I don't think it really matters that much. You just don't want it to be like this too much, like in the middle like that. It's kind of cool to pick one or the other. Like I picked that right now. That looks good. All right. Now comes the shaft part. Now this is the original shaft. The original shaft I didn't like because I felt it, and I feel these grooves on it, man. And it's just, you can feel them. You know, you can feel it's worn. Sometimes it's all right, but this time I got a weird feeling about it. I put it in here, and it's got a little too much wobble. That means the cruciform is going to wobble, you know? So I got another one that was laying around that was in better shape, and it doesn't have that same wobble. So I'm going to change it. Means eventually I'm probably going to have to buy another one. All right. Now, this one's already clean. I cleaned this with a little carburetor cleaner. Also the other part. Then you put a drop of blue Loctite, which is the weakest Loctite, right on here. It's a 2-stroke. You Loctite everything almost on a 2-stroke. You got to lock. Everything rattles and shakes. It's way loose. Now, put it in. Touch it. Now, this is a reverse thread, meaning left is going to tighten it. There you go. It's caught. Reason it's a left thread is because when the engine is spinning, it will spin itself on rather than off. Unless you downshift at high RPMs all the time. And that might cause a problem. It's okay to downshift, but don't, if you always downshift at high RPMs, then maybe then it might do something, but still very minute chance, you know? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it all the way out so it rests up against fourth gear, if I can. I think it's there. Now, I'm going to tighten it. Hold the big gear in my hand and go to the left. Oh, it's spinning. There. You want about, I don't know, 7 to 8 pounds of pressure or something like that. It shouldn't come loose with the Loctite and spinning the right way, you know? You can look up the exact number, but with the little Loctite and spun the right way and about that pressure, she's not going to come loose. I may come back here later and hit it a little bit more, but I don't want to waste your guys' time right now. All right, there it is. It should pop through the gears pretty well. There it goes. See, that's the gears. It's popping through every gear. All right, the shifting box will put it in the right gear. Click, click, click. Sometimes if you're popping out a gear, it might not be the Cruciform. It could be the box is worn out too, you know? Sometimes you change the Cruciform and it still kind of pops out. It doesn't feel right. You got to change both. All right. I may also make a video of me putting together the rear hub, rear brake hub, brake drum, in other words, hub, everything there. Maybe a few other things on this engine. I also put together I changed the gear ratios on this bike. I put a 63. I'm sorry. Let me get this right. A 2365 on it. It's angle cut. Okay, it's not the straight cut. Straight cuts are much more aggressive. You'll get a lot higher numbers with the straight cut teeth. Straight cut teeth, you get like the same numbers with a straight cut teeth as a different animal. It's a very, very tall gear set. You could go into the 80s if your bike's really hopped up with an expansion pipe. All right, now. All right, that's it for that for now. What else could I say about this? Let's see. That's about it. All right. That's it for that. And I'll walk around and show you some other things I've been doing for the hell of it. I've been painting this bike. And it's got a white primer on it right now. I've been really working on this. It looked like somebody with a little hammer hit the whole bike with a ball peen hammer. Been working on this thing been sanding this thing non-stop. Here's all the filler paint, filler primer, and primer I used on it so far. This is a white base, just can primer with which I let dry for 3 days and then I sand it. I also did the filler primers on them and I waited a few days and sanded over and over and over again because it's full of little marks. Get rid of all the skin. And I still have a little imperfections here and there. It's a little high right here. I might take a little bit there. It's got a little tiny things here and there I might mess with. It's got one little mark here somewhere. I'm just going to sand it again. These are the parts I'm completely done with. I hang them as I finish with them. Right there. Of course, the gas tank is rusty a little bit. I did put a little bit on there. I have to work on that. I have a way of doing that. I use CFR straight up if it's mild, and a whole bunch of like a half a pound of screws from like drywall screws, which are really sharp. I'll throw them in, a whole box in there with that and shake it for a long time, scrape it all clean. Then I'll see how it looks after that. I could coat it. I don't know if I'm going to coat it. There's a very simple coats out there that aren't hardcore. There's like a simple, it isn't like the old school rubber thick coats. It's a very thin, mild coat you can get out there. All right, and I've got another tip I'll let you guys in on. All right, so, working on Vespas is all tips, all right? That's a lot of tips. I wish somebody should make a book just on tips. If they did, it would be really nice. I had the kickstart gasket or O-ring was worn out completely. And this was a real bitch to take out. It was so worn out I couldn't get a grip on it. I got it out. Now, a trick to installing it is when you put this shaft in, hold the shaft, the end of the shaft, right across the cut that's in there. There's a cut in there with the O-ring, very hard to get to. You hold the end of it just under the cut. Then you push the O-ring in, and the O-ring will stop right where the cut is, and it won't keep passing it. It'll go right in. It'll go in way quicker, maybe like a whole lot quicker. You won't spend time there playing with it. And all right, that's that one tip for that, okay? Collect as many tips as you can if you're into rebuilding these. It's, like I said, a lot of it is tips. There's a lot of little, you could read the books all day long, and it's fantastic, but it's nice to know all the little tiny little things that can help you out. There's also a few nice little tips for getting the crown nut out of this thing, installing it. I'll try to make one for the clutch basket. There's the clutch right there. Clutch. This is the one with the taller. This is the 23 tooth instead of 21 tooth, which was in there. I've got parts coming in. I'm going to seal up this engine very soon. I'm gonna flow the carburetor and all that. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna try to port match the entire intake. Okay, and I'm not gonna go hardcore on this. You know, it's gonna be hopped up, but it's not gonna be insane. All right, that's about it. All right, everyone, take care. Hang in there. Bye-bye.